Hello, 8th grade. Today, these are your notes for To Kill a Mockingbird, chapters 18 through 19. Just to let you know, today you have your quiz, you have these notes, and then you have the rest of class to work on your study guides, which are due tomorrow, Friday. At this point, if this was regular class, I would be checking your notes to make sure that you had them all and they were complete. Why? As I've said before, when you go to write your essay, having all of these notes to where you can quickly find important quotes to use in that essay, where you can find examples on these different themes, or remember, hey, when did that happen? Because after a while, there's a lot of pages we're going through. So I strongly encourage you to hang on to these notes. I look at them, I return them to you. Some of you I know have put them in your electronic trash can. That is your choice. I am strongly encouraging you to hang on to them for whatever that's worth. Chapter 18, what happened? We see Mayella testifies, the victim. Okay. We discover she is lonely. She has a lonely life. She has no friends. Okay. Our next bullet point, she thinks Atticus is mocking her by calling her ma'am. So here we also clue into the fact that not only does she have no friends or people she can talk to, she's not used to people treating her with respect or kindness. So we get a glimpse of how her father treats her as well. Our next bullet point, she says Tom hit and raped her. Then we see Atticus's cross-examination. Did her father beat her? In parentheses, it says there he begs for the truth. He gives her the opportunity. Is there anything you want to say? Please tell the truth. Okay. The very last thing that happens in chapter 18, Tom stands up and the jury and everyone can see that he has a crippled arm. So it would have been impossible for him to hit her the side that she claims. Chapter 19. Finally, we have Tom's side told. The defense presents their case. His version, Mayella asked him in. The next point, she grabbed him and kissed him on the cheek. Okay. So he presents his side of the case. We see Mr. Ewell sees this, and from his words, Mr. Ewell is not angry at Tom. He is angry at Mayella. That's going to clue us into the truth of what happened. We then see Mr. Gilmer and his cross-examination. This was the prosecutor. Tom admits he felt sorry for Mayella. We're going to talk about why that's a problem here in just a sec. Tom can't say that she is lying. He's in a catch-22. It's a no-win situation. If he says she's lying, he's going to automatically be in trouble for how dare a black man accuse a white woman of lying. But on the other hand, he can't lie and say, oh, it was the way she said it. So he's in a catch-22. The very last point we see for chapter 19, the way Tom is treated by Gilmer makes Dill sick. Earlier in the book, he felt for a turtle when they were trying to put a flame on its shell, and he was concerned about how the turtle would feel. Here again, we understand that Dill is feeling for Tom and how Tom must feel with the way he's being treated. Important quotes, you have several. Page 188. Atticus hit her in a hard way that gave him no pleasure. This wasn't a physical attack, but as a defense attorney, he was attacking her story. Does Atticus see Mayella as a victim? Yes, he sees her as a victim, not as a victim of rape, but as the victim of abuse. Okay, page 191. Mayella was the loneliest person in the world, except maybe for Boo. So two things. One, this was Scout putting herself in Mayella's shoes, seeing from her point of view. She's also making a reference to the fact that Boo was lonely because he'd never been out for 25 years. Mayella was even lonelier than that. So the question here is Mayella a mockingbird? Is she a victim? She's trying to bring beauty with her flowers. Okay? Is she being hurt while she's innocent? Page 197, Tom says, I felt sorry for her. This is a huge mistake. Why? He's breaking a Southern code. The idea that a black person could have pity for a white person, that pity kind of indicates you're looking down on them, and that a black person should never be able to look down on a white person. Because again, in this social system, you have ladies and gentlemen, you have the white trash, and then even below that are the black people. So this is breaking a huge Southern code. Okay, then the question, are you saying she's lying, boy? He can't say that. He can't accuse her of lying because, again, that would break that social code. Page 199. After all, he's just a Negro. So Scout says this. Well, of course, that's how they would treat a black person. He's just a Negro. So Scout was raised with this attitude from society. So the question is, do we remember when Cal had to go to the back door at the Radley house? Normally she would go to the Radley house. So even Scout is kind of raised in this society where, well, that's just how you treat black people. So even with Atticus for a father who is very fair and tries to view not this us-them idea, the society still has an influence even on Scout. Notes on themes and motifs, page 189. Judge Taylor looks asleep and lazy, but he runs a tight court. So appearances can be deceiving. You can't always trust your eyes. We talked about blind spots yesterday. Okay, now we're talking about appearances being deceiving. Page 192. There's a social predicament of Mayella. She can't associate with proper white people, but she can't associate with blacks. This is part of why Scout views her as lonelier even than Boo Radley, because she is stuck in between. They also compared her to the mixed children, where she doesn't really belong in one, she doesn't really belong in the other. Then finally we have page 195. Tom couldn't hit Mayella to get away, and running away implied guilt. So this is the other side of the catch-22. He can't say she's lying, and he can't lie, so that's a catch-22. Here, he can't hit her. He can't force his way out, because that would be horrific, because he's touched a white woman. But if he runs away, he looks guilty, and he's going to be condemned and tried. Okay, so it's a catch-22. It's a no-win situation. There was nothing he could do to make it better. So the question we finally ask is Tom Robinson a mockingbird? Is he innocent? Is he just trying to bring joy to this poor woman? And is he caught, helpless? Okay, those are our notes for chapters 18, 19. We don't have new vocab today, but just to talk a little bit more about some of our characters, we did see Mr. Link Dees stand up at the trial to speak in defense of Tom. So this is Tom Robinson's boss. And Tom Robinson would pick cotton, but he would also work in his yard and other places, laboring for him kind of year-round. So Link Dees was the boss. We had met Dolphus Raymond, who was a friend to both the Negroes and not, and he was allowed to because he had land and was... So they were willing to overlook his weirdness and peculiarities. We see that he is trying to kind of comfort Dill after Dill is physically sick at how Tom is being treated. We obviously saw Mr. Gilmer, the prosecutor, again. We saw the judge again. We saw Mayella today. She is the daughter of Bob Ewell. She's obviously a victim in many ways. She tries to bring beauty, but she's been abused. She's not used to being treated with kindness, and when someone treats her kindly, she thinks they're teasing her. Okay. We also hear more about Tom. We see that he is tall, muscular. He's had this accusation against him. He's just trying to be helpful. He never took a dime to help do the chores for her. We also learned that he had an accident and he's lost part of his arm in a machinery accident. They said it almost caused him to bleed to death. We also find out that he had been in a fight once. He was sentenced 30 days for that. And Atticus points that out because he's trying to show everything about Tom. He doesn't want to hide anything. He wants Tom to have his day in court and to have a fair trial. When the man speaks up, the judge makes sure that there isn't going to be a mistrial. He throws Link D's out because he wants it to be a fair trial. I think that's what you need to know. So again, a quiz for today. These notes finish up your study guides.